Gentlemen.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Company of Heroes 2. We are of course the Gentlemen. I am Archon Hawk.
And I am the Machine. We are jumping into a 2 versus 2 game, and Rails and Metal will be our map for today, which is great, because I think Rails and Metal is one of the few 2v2 maps that I actually think is well designed for a 2v2.
Definitely is. It's quite a lot of fun, and this is one of the 2v2s that we've been doing for a while. We're going to, of course, as our Soviet players here, have DandyFrontline, and his ally there will be Ruffe, or Ruffe, I suppose.
ROMC.
Ruffe? Sorry?
It's ROMC.
ROMC, is it? Oh,
Yep.
okay, yeah, we're clicking on the wrong thing.
As for our German side of town, we do have Ruffe. Who are you looking at?
I thought I was looking at the wrong person, but now we're looking at ours here.
Okay. Yeah, of course, Ruffe will be... Wow, Ruffy's my dog.
Really?
Ruffy!
Oh, yeah, it is too.
Yeah, wow, okay, that's going to be awkward. Ruffe will be our Germans alongside TNrg. So these are all buddies from code2.org, the good community website that we use a lot and get our replays from. So this is kind of cool.
It is cool.
I've seen various of these people in the forums. So we do have a tier 1 coming out of ROMC. Gonna go for the conscripts just yet, so not gonna be really rushing out any of those tier 1 units, but garrison will be taken here by TNrg with his pioneers. But given how far the conscripts are standing behind the heavy cover, the pioneers will not be effective.
Yeah, definitely not. Really have to be in close with those pioneers. Taking the garrison is just really going to lay his own capping presence, and as we see here, the comp engineers are just going to move up and take some free caps away.
Yeah, for example, they're not capping that point.
Yeah.
It can be nice to do that. It's just to steal the garrison so you can buy time for your MG to walk in. But there is no MG on the way here for TNrg.
Yeah, TNrg just trying to go for a little bit of a grenadier play there. We do have a bit of a scout car play coming out this far from ROMC.
Yeah, indeed. Panther destroyed. Good thing it's not an alive one, but yeah, Grenadiers are moving up though, but a nice flank as well. 2 squads of conscripts are flanking behind that pioneer garrison. 2 Grenadiers are walking forwards towards the conscripts, and they will turn around to focus the Grenadiers. Grenadiers only behind the medium cover, whereas these conscripts, they're behind the heavy, so they're going to be very effective, especially given that conscripts just have that better close damage. Yeah,
I'm surprised the Grenadiers didn't decide to stay at range. If you were kind of in medium cover 2v1ing against the heavy cover conscripts, you would still be fine that engage, but one of them's going to have to retreat off this one, so a little bit of a misplay there.
Here's a scout car now moving in, doesn't have a garrison yet. Looks as though the combat engineers from ROMC will go into that one. Doesn't have the flame upgrade yet. It is always very nice to get that flame upgrade with the scout cars. But one thing to note actually is it is always worth having the engineers rather than the conscripts, because when you actually do garrison the scout car, you only get 4 members actually shooting out. So even if you have a conscript squad, not all of them are firing, and the conscripts and the combat engineers, they have the same rifle damage, so you might as well use the engineers also, then you can repair yourself.
Yeah, no reason not to. I'm a little bit surprised with the scout car play, given we're not really seeing any like MG heavy start coming out in 2v2s, especially on a map like Rails and Metal, which is very up and down the center with a lot of kind of heavy cover and such on the roads. It's very hard to kind of maneuver around without running into stuff. It can be very easy to get caught out by Faust, so it can be a little bit of a liability depending on how you use it.
Yeah, definitely. You have to play so cautiously with the scout car. It really just takes up a lot of your time and attention. Grenadiers in the garrison now will be excellent against the conscripts. No Molotovs just yet for ROMC, but a heavy push up here coming from DandyFrontline, but the MG managed to suppress them in time.
It's a really nice MG placement, but the MG is going to have to move back, reset up, should be able to do so in time. At the same time, the conscripts, of course, are going to be bleeding hard. Supporting those MGs with the Grenadiers is quite important. And it's a really nice garrison in the middle as well. There's windows on every single side. They can literally fire anywhere they want to.
Yeah, it's dangerous. I don't know why he actually evac'd that earlier, but going back to that MG, I like how he repositioned it, because he would got Molotov'd. Despite the squad being suppressed, but a nice flank from DandyFrontline, but that squad is just so low and probably will lose to the Grenadiers.
Yeah, because of, just having to run through Grenadiers who are stationary and just firing away, as well as just the crew from the MGs, it's very, very hard to actually flank a supported MG. You really need some other way to deal with it. I'd like to see the scout car play a little bit more aggressively on that side. It can be a nice way to deal with the MG, but instead going for some nice aggressive decaps.
Yeah, you can decap really fast with a scout car through the strat points, for example, and then you can also plant mines while you're doing so. So the south side here for our Germans is going pretty well. The fuel is still held though, but there's a nice territory held. A lot of the Grenadiers are actually pretty low and will have to heal up though, where the conscripts are pretty much on full health, as we do have field medics.
Field medics, yeah, look, they're pretty nice to have. They're a decent kind of thing to actually pick up, and I like how ROMC and the front line is actually holding the heavy cover, but that is of course a demo trap on the point. That's nice.
That will squad wipe. And the good thing about it is, unlike mines, you really can wait around for it. You can manually detonate it. It won't do it on its own. So you can wait until the entire squad is positioned on it and make sure you get the squad wipe or leave it for a vehicle later down the track.
Yeah, and putting it there is fantastic because eventually a squad's going to walk through, then you get to get the detonate. So you not only get the squad wipe, you also delay the capping of the actual point, which is very, very nice. So I see some LG upgrades coming out here from my Austria, and that's maybe a little bit too late. They're starting to lose their positional advantage and get forced back, but they have taken the right-hand side finally, have that heavy cover with that massive trench there, which is a very, very important point to hold.
Yeah, especially because of that garrison. The heavy cover trench and the garrison, if you can get the MG in the garrison and some Grenadier squad in there with the support of the mortar, it can be very hard to actually push through and clear out. But a scout car here from Ruffe, he's 221, will be able to take out the M3 scout car of ROMC, especially when he gets that up gun.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have pretty much easy time with that. Can also help out a lot in those infantry engagements, and there's actually a second one coming out. So both of our Austria players are going to be going for those up-run scout cars here. The first 222 is now out, and they really do assist, especially when the conscripts have to move in close. If they're looking for those Molotovs and they're looking for the close range damage, having that armored car on the back lines really, assists in shredding down the conscripts before they can get into decent cover.
These combat engineers and conscripts just aren't getting suppressed by the MG because of that heavy cover, but the longer they stick around, sooner or later a mortar shell is going to land inside of that and do a lot of damage. Yeah,
definitely. It can just wipe so many members at this point. You're right, we're going to see the combat engineer squad backing off, and again, there's the power of the 222, forcing off 3 conscript squads. They just can't deal against that. It's just the sheer health damage as well as the unit bleed.
Yeah, you really just need to have either an AT gun or AT grenades. Conscript squad may fall here. Looks as though it will retreat out of that one. Scout car looking to get the squad wipe on the chase, but won't be able to this time around. The other thing about going scout cars, it's good to go scout cars if you know your opponent has gone Molotovs, because then they also generally have to go AT grenades, and that's 50 fuel they're investing into those infantry. The conscript squad retreating a little bit late, but still surviving from that heavy cover.
A lot harder to flank as well with individual conscript squads and actually
force
off. Oh, it's coming in. Oh, not a lot.
Yeah.
Not a big deal there.
It depends where you aim it. If the rifle grenade hits the heavy cover, it won't do much.
Yeah.
If it hits behind the heavy cover, it will do. So you have to sort of like aim it to make sure that you actually hit behind the cover. Same with like mortars and stuff. Depending on where it hits in regards to the cover, it can dramatically affect the damage. PPSHs are being completed here for DandyFrontline, so we'll have a lot of close range firepower, but we'll trade a lot of his long and medium range firepower in the process.
It definitely will be nice, assuming we see some AT guns, or in fact guards, we will be seeing coming out to deal with these armored cars, because if those conscripts getting close, which they have been anyway, to land the Molotovs, they're just going to be fantastic against these LMG grants, because of course the LMG had its longer range. Its long range was buffed in the was it in LB, or we learned how to pronounce that today, didn't we?
Elba.
Elba, yeah, it was actually changed. So they're great at long range, but at close range, not very good at all. And the PPSHs will actually shred through those grenadiers.
Yeah, exactly. Like the PPSHs aren't fantastic against G43s, but against LMG grens, it's definitely a great investment. But it is quite expensive, and you really have to make sure you do close the gap. And when it comes to flanking MGs, they are great. But P-Gren squads are going to be excellent at defending his support weapons. This conscript squad is going to have to back away. Without the PPSHs, it has no chance of actually trading with those P-Grens. PPSHs are actually strong though against the Grens. That was a mortar shell, I believe, from TNrg's own mortar friendly firing, taking his P-Grens down very low. Yeah,
TNrg, I really like the unit mixing. It's just been pretty fantastic thus far. He always his support weapons well supported. They're supporting each other, which is nice. Fantastic. You're actually using them correctly instead of just setting up 4 MGs across the map and expecting them not to be flanked. It is definitely nice play from him, but he's managing to hold the right side very, very well. Mortar starting to pay off as well. We'll be getting pretty close to veterancy 1, I would say.
this scout car isn't really doing much here for ROMC. He's got 3 kills on it and none on the actual engineer crew. So it hasn't really paid itself off, and now it's at the stage where there's the upgun scout cars, and there's just the threat of there might be a pack around the corner, so you do have to play much more cautiously with it.
Yeah, definitely agree with that one. We actually have some Ostrooping coming out here from Ruffe. We'll see if they do, of course, pay off. It'll be interesting to see if they do. But that is, of course, the new German doctrine. It's not land lease, that's the Soviet one.
Yep.
So the German one would be...
Oh, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I knew land lease, and then I wasn't sure, and that made me a little bit sad. Look at those 222s absolutely shredding through the troops now. We actually got a sun there, and the guards are getting caught.
Yeah, this guard's going just a little bit too deep there against the Pioneers, and the Grenadiers will have to back away. This is a pretty crazy push and a pretty crazy phone from Mr. Arco and Hawk. Missing a scout car does fall to the Zis of DandyFrontline here. MG is trying to suppress, has the AP armor-piercing shell, so he's doing a lot of damage, but it's now reloading at a very bad time, absolutely ripping through that squad, getting the suppress, but now it's up close against the PPSH. Molotov is going in. Not a lot of output, though, from the cons because of that suppression, so the MG with the Vet 2 will survive this one unless that squad does get the wipe. AT grenade won't quite take out the scout car, but it's very low, and the conscripts may go for the chase.
Yeah, they may do indeed, but there is a pack there as well. The conscripts aren't going to care about that very much. They're looking for the rifle damage. I'm not sure if they're going to find it, though. Even with that damaged engine, the 222 is still managing to get out of the way. It was a nice push, actually, from the frontline. They managed to push through and just move the support weapons, if nothing else. Force the MG to unpack, force the mortar to retreat as well, and managing to take back both the trench and the important garrisons around that BP.
Yeah, I really would like to see Ruffe actually retreat back to his base and heal up his troops, because they will just lose every engagement with how little health they have. And bad luck as well for Ruffe, because he didn't actually go for the... when he got the Ostrooping call in, he didn't have any weapons. A lot of times the Ostrooping get the MGs. Capping the munitions, munitions point very quickly because of that upgrade, the counterattack tactics, where you can capture neutral points like really quickly.
Yeah.
That was like faster than a regular strat point. Going in for the engagement, going through the neg cover though, will drop incredibly fast. He's up close, but it won't even matter. Guards are closing in as well. Guards aren't good for assaulting because they don't fire their DPs well. They don't even have any DPs, so they're pretty average. Grenade, the conscripts, nope, the guard grenade rather, I'm trying to say, actually didn't get a squad wipe. It really could have if it was aimed a bit further down. Those guard grenades are very powerful.
They definitely are, and the guards will end up forcing them off thanks to the very, very blob conscripts and guards moving up now. This is a very, very back and forth engagement. It's kind of blob up, blob back, blob up, blob back. I think we definitely saw that Ruffe actually suffered there from not having his troops healed up, because he did drop several models. That's a mine onto the Puma. Yeah,
that's a nice mine there indeed, and this Puma's going to have to back away and get repaired. It's actually interesting though, seeing that Ruffe did go for the Puma against guards. Seeing that there's no tanks on the field, Pumas are a very strong counter to the tier 3 because of their, how fast and how long range of the damage they have. But against guards and conscripts, like the infantry damage isn't fantastic, and they are quite vulnerable to those weapons. So I would have preferred to see like an Ostwind or a P4 come out of Ruffe rather than the Pumas.
Yeah, definitely. Or even a command tank, for example. I mean, you're only one command point actually away from that, so there's no real point calling in 2 Pumas when they're not going to really be necessary, especially when you have no idea whether there might be tier 4 coming out at all. No tier 3 real evidence coming out from either of our Soviet players, and there we go, tier 4.
Yeah, the Pumas, they can flank the SU-85s, but if they are able to get the flank, like if it's supported by conscripts and guards, then they will just lose that range. So definitely interesting pickup there. They are quite strong, but I think that they are, a very specific counter pick to say, tier 3 units. If you do see T-34s come out, T-70s will get forced away by the AT grenade. MG suppressing that one. Guards trying to find some more shots, but ever since the range reduction nerf they got on the PTRS rifles from 45 to 40 range, it is harder for them to actually get those long range shots because of how really, really long that aim fire delay is. It is hard for them to actually fire.
It does make it very, very, very difficult. So we got some P-Rens. The Shrek upgrade has now gone down. It's going to nerf their damage against these PBSH cons a little bit though, so they've got to be careful.
Which is again interesting because there just isn't really any tanks coming out. I mean, I think there's still a scout car. Oh, there's a half track as well.
Half track now, but that hadn't been scouted yet. So,
that was just recently built. The Shreks are great, but, you know, until you do see enemy vehicles, you will give up a lot of your anti-infantry firepower, especially against PPSHs. It means that, like, you will absolutely lose those engagements. Trying to assault through the guards here. Ostripper are moving in, not exactly very good while moving. They need to be behind cover to get that extra accuracy. This Grenadier squad having a fantastic time though, 22 kills with the help of his LMG-42. Meanwhile, on the right-hand side, our Soviets are continuing to push further down. Yeah,
pushing through they are indeed, and having that Zis up there is going to be very, very nice against those armoured cars. And you have a P4 coming out here for TNrg. We'll have to see if that does in fact pay off.
Yeah, it looks as though it will, but there is that Zis there, and it's getting pretty vetted up, and when they're vet too, the rate of fire they get is excellent, and of course, the increased tracking speed makes them easier to actually hit moving targets. So Zis will have to reface. Not a lot of AT, there's no guards down here. There is the AT grenades, of course, and we'll have to start retreating some of these squads as they are very, very low. Vet 2 engineers with a flamer can be pretty effective.
Yeah, they definitely can. They're starting to fire away at the Pigrons. Nade goes out, doesn't find any victims on the people's just pushing through on the side. It's stopping the reinforce from that from the half track, from that M5 half track. So some good pressure, but got to be careful with the Zis as well.
SU-85 is on the field here for ROMC, and he's in an excellent position to go for the P4. With all of those train wreckage in the way, the P4 can't drive into it. Can it actually fire over? Wow, he's out of position, really shouldn't have driven forward, but excellent timing for the T-34 85 call-in of DandyFrontline. That is, of course, with the advanced warfare tactics. So we'll take that P4 out if we can find one more killing blow. This was decrewed and will be captured by our Germans. Garrison being a nice shot blocker for the P4 and will secure the escape.
SU-85 or SU-85?
Oh!
Oh!
Nice.
Yeah, I went there. I went there. Went right there. Anyway, of course, the people does walk away from that one, which is going to be nice. But of course, this was out of position for a while, so I'm a little bit surprised it decided to stick around. I think a command tank has hit the field, given from the green I see on this mini-map. Yes, it has. So that's going to be thrown in with the people. Can be a nice buff, and look at those packs.
Oh, we'll give away the Zis by the looks of it here. Not able to secure its escape. I thought there was 2 command tanks, but these are actually like one strap point.
Yeah, one whole strap point. Yeah, one big.
Yeah, the Shreks are starting to fire now onto the T-34s, but with the quad, it does have very powerful anti-infantry damage. They can take out those Pigrons quite fast. The T-34s, if the Pigron squad is grouped up enough, it can kill a lot of members in a single shot. PPSHs, they are up close, they are powerful, but they're out in the open, so getting dropped quite low. May lose a vet through Grenadier squad, retreating through the PPSHs. That's a bit of a blow there. Command tank is firing, but will be absolutely pitiful against the SU-85.
Yeah, given the SU-85's actually on the field, command tank probably not the best idea. Smoke goes out, but so do the AT nades. I don't know if one penetrated.
No!
3 AT nades, really?
All 3
really,
of
please.
them did not penetrate. Guard is moving up as well, but guards just do not have enough damage to actually contribute. There is the pack, and that will ward away the SU-85. Mark target as well, really wants to take out that command tank. Pack missed its shot, and the T-34 is driving in. May even get guards decrewing that pack with the help of the DPs. So that's excellent news, and we may even see our Soviets just destroy the pack rather than recapturing it, but the Pumas are moving in for the flank. SU-85 caught out of position, facing off with the side armor. Pumas are dropping it quite low, and that goes the main gun. Guards are there, and so is the mark target, but the SU-85 will fall. The quad half-track has to back away. T-34 is driving in, but the Pumas have excellent damage. Pack was recrewed and is starting to fire against the side of the Puma. One of them falls to the T-34. Other Puma has to back away. Pack being decrewed, but already got vet 1.
Yeah, already having that vet 1. The Pumas were very, very nice, but a little bit late to the party. Had they been moved in a little bit further, like a little bit sooner, onto the back side of those SU-85s and the T-34s, they have absolutely insane amounts of damage.
Yeah, they really do in their speed and their range. We do have TNrg with his Elephant Doctrine. Ruffy's gone, obviously, for the Pumas. ROMC, he's going for his ISU guards, and he's got a lot of manpower in the bank. That's a lot. You really should get some fuel points. If you are floating manpower, just get a fuel point. There's no reason not to. They don't cost pop cap or anything like that. The Austrian can false though. He definitely will get hit by the false, but again, he has the engineers in, so he can just repair that. But it means that a Puma may swoop in and just get the killing blow on it.
Yeah, got to be very, very careful when you've got those medium tanks that the Puma's actually hitting the field. But yeah, as you said, really shouldn't be floating that much in terms of manpower. He is close to needing the manpower for his ISU, but still,
not 1,000.
There's not 1,000. Yeah, you don't need that full 1,000. You really should have a few more troops. Troops going to help you out.
DandyFrontline also floating a fair bit as well, 700 manpower. And yeah, again, no field points, and even just more conscripts will be excellent. It has a little bit of vet though, so this is quite great. DandyFrontline, ooh, loses a squad there, ROMC. That is a
IL-2, I believe.
Yep, IL-2 strafing run. Will force the retreat, which is interesting because you can just kind of walk away from it.
Decides to go for the Puma.
Wow, yeah, takes it down quite low. PVH conscripts are moving forward. Not a lot of defense here. And there's 2 squads of the P-Grand Shreks, and they just won't be effective, but a bundle grenade will be taking out that squad quite low. Molotov being dodged. P4, oh, wipes out that conscript squad.
Yeah, absolutely destroyed there. That's what you get for eating a bundle grenade to the face. And T-34, you don't want to be working into those Shreks, buddy. They're not good for your health. Yeah,
not exactly good for their physical appearance, but getting a nice shot. Shouldn't have had the 2 squads that close together because the T-34 impacted against both of them. Combat engineers really should be merged because these are excellent against the cover. May even lose that one. I would like to see a merge rather than retreating it.
Yeah, mergers are pretty damn fantastic, and I mean, even if you're losing a couple of models on the conscripts, you're just giving such a good damage buff and the potential there. That goes in. Oh, Pack decides to move around a bit in there. What hit the guards? Something hit the guards as well.
That was a mortar shell.
Oh, it was a mortar shell. Okay.
I think.
Or a pack shell, maybe. Alright. Something.
I'm pretty sure it was a mortar. But anyway, T-34, oh, takes out the scout car. That's been hanging around for a little bit too late. There's a Zist there as well. The pack's also on the floor. I wonder if DandyFrontline will destroy that one to prevent it from being recruited. That's actually a bunker, so maybe a command bunker for the forward reinforce.
Yeah, it would be very, very nice here. The guards actually decide to recrew the pack. That's a bold move. You've got to back that off and back that off ASAP. Because the MG actually unpacked, it's averagely safe. He used the Molotov to force the unpack and then backed away the pack, so that's really nice.
It was indeed. Otherwise, he may have lost it because it was Vet 2 as well. And if it loads the AP ammo, nah, it will just shred. So that was actually good timing there. It doesn't have the fuel on the left side, so it's actually pretty even territory. The VPs, for the most part, are onto our Soviets here, 400 against 240. So they are slowly tipping the VPs in their favor. Yeah, it must have been that mortar there earlier. But there's only 3 squads of PPSH conscripts now for DandyFrontline. He really needs to get more, because he doesn't just have much, way of really dealing with the Shreks. He does have the T-34s, but you can't actually rely on those, because if they just keep missing, they will get, zoned out by the Shreks, and then also, with the P4 and whatever other vehicle our Germans end up going for.
Yeah, and with nothing else to really spend it on, all that conscript's got very, very low. I think it's probably going to survive. Yes, it will. But yeah, as you were saying, I mean, there's not really any sense in not going for a, I was going to say, quad half track, just going to survive that one. People was moving in. There's no real sense in not going for some more conscripts with those PPSHs. Even with the PPSHs, you tend to shred regardless of whether regardless of whether veterancy or no.
Yeah, that's the good thing about Vet is if you're up close, even if you are Vet 0 and say Vet 2, like you'll probably still win if you get a nice flank. Where normally, because conscript grenadiers are pretty even, like whoever has the most Vet typically wins.
Yeah, exactly right. So some nice kind of tunneling up here from our Austria, but they are of course not holding the VPs at the moment. T-34s should be playing a little bit more aggressively. They can do some nice poke damage and get repair. Even combat engineer squads, for example. I mean, just anything that stops the 700 manpower float.
Yeah, there is the ISU. That is exactly what our Soviets need. There's a pretty defensive stronghold here, and I would like to see the T-34s just sort of avoid that and go on the left flank and really push it through. Because, yeah, with how many AT guns there are and all of these Shreks, T-34s, they can't really try and poke on the right-hand side, but with the ISU, you can probably start blasting away. There is a bombing run of some kind. Where are we going bombing run? Is it onto the pack or the quad? Oh, gets the pack and not quite the T-34, but takes it quite low.
Yeah, dodge not quite in time, and looks like the P4 wants to capitalize on that, and there's no reason that it can't. Should be able to easily 1v1 this T-34.
T-34 is very, very wounded. The other one is quite low because of the Shreks. Can pop Blitzkrieg, which will give it better acceleration through the cover, not going in for the kill. Very, very surprising there. The quad half track, actually didn't get taken out by the P4 shell. That missed. that Zis is able to be recruited in very, very low. Would need to be repaired earlier. And the T-34 will back away. Almost vet 2 as well.
Very, very defensive play coming out from TNrg. Probably didn't need to be that defensive with the P4. They can take out a few of those T-34 85 shots and then back off quite safely. There was no conscript squads really nearby for the AT. And look at that, just throwing away vetted con squads.
That's the second time that's happened, where it's bundle grenade followed by P4. ISU doing some fantastic work, killing a lot of these units. Puma's looking to find the flanks, but the conscripts will land an AT grenade, and that's going to be in front of the ISU's firing arc. We'll drop that one, but our Germans are pushed back. And that elephant mustn't be too far off for TNrg. Yeah, he's called it in.
Yeah, called it in now. So the elephant has hit the field, and that's going to be nice against the ISU. Pumas are actually better than you'd think against the ISU, especially if they're not directly supported by conscript squads. If you can find the flanks, they actually do an insane amount of damage and have a really nice penetration rate as well.
And then you can block off the retreat path, so the elephant can continue to barrage it. Finally, some fuel points here for our Soviets. A little bit too late, and I'm surprised we haven't seen any coming out of our Germans either, but they weren't exactly floating as much. That pack is full of guards. It's no longer a huge deal garrisoning. Oh, nice flank here. The elephant and the P4, and the T-34 is blocking its own retreat path. The ISU's dropping very, very low. One more elephant shot will take it out. The P4 will survive, and the elephant claims the ISU. That is a huge deal for our Germans. They now have free reign to push through without worry of the ISU.
They can actually push through, and that's the major thing now. They don't have to worry about that ISU sniping down their P4s and their Shreks as they move in closer. Shreks getting caught right out of position.
No.
What are you doing? No!
The engineer can squad wipe that one with a flamer, but the T-34 killed his own engineer.
I can't believe it survived.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. Now, there's a lot of T-34s, and we do have some veterancy on them, so they're going to be just a little bit stronger than they have otherwise been if they go for a full-on flank onto the elephant. But if they don't, the elephant will take them very, very low.
Yeah, it definitely will. I mean, the elephant, it really needs to be caught way out of position in order to be taken down. That's a lot harder on a map like Rails and Metal. There's a lot less kind of sight blockers, if you would. There's not many hedges you can come from behind. There's not many ways you can get to the elephant without some type of infantry or something seeing you before you get there.
Yeah.
Which makes the elephant a lot safer.
We also have recon run for our Germans, so they can use a recon run to scout out the T-34s and just fire them from afar. Elephant now has a nice sight there onto the T-34s by the looks of it. The T-34s, if they go really aggressive, I mean, they can wipe the infantry, and there isn't really enough tanks. I think it's going to come down to how well TNrg plays the elephant. If he's able to snipe and get those wipes, Pumas are being caught by the T-34s, taking one of them down quite low. But the T-34s will have the better trading here, better damage and better health. Smoke for the disengage. Will Ruffe be able to escape that heavy cover, taking a lot of the T-34 shots, and will back that away. Elephant being a little bit too defensive, not able to fire away the T-34s.
Really needs to be in a position where it can support the Pumas and make sure the T-34s just can't have absolutely free reign. Hires will have to run away from that one. You don't really want to be dueling against Vet 3 conscript squads. Pack is recruited. There's a few packs on the field here for Austria, but definitely need to use their tanks in. They really need to synergize better together. They need to have the Pumas working well with the Elephant, working well with the P-grade, and it's just all good unit mixing.
Yeah, they seem to be sticking to their sides for the most part. DandyFrontline on the right, ROMC on the left, as well as the exact same for our Germans. They're not really synergizing very well. They're just sort of having their own 1v1s on either side, which, you know, is fine depending on your composition. But when you have, you know, an elephant and Pumas, things that are on their own, not exactly very strong, but together can be very strong. Really should work together here. So the conscripts are up close and will force away those P-grens.
Not at all surprising. They're very, very powerful. Get another Puma coming out here from TNrg. I don't mind that, but they're really going to have to be
from
used...
Ruffe.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, from Ruffe, of course. Yeah, so from Ruffe, he's going to have to use it pretty aggressively. Now you've got 3 Pumas on the field as well as that command tank. You have to try and use it well with the elephant and find the flanks on those T-34 or 85s to do some pretty serious damage. You can't just use them defensively because you're not going to have the same anti-infantry capacity that those T-34 85s do. That,
and they have very little territory. They're all running low on VPs, 150 only for our Germans, and we do have Ruffe going for P-grant spam as well, which is interesting because against the vetted conscripts with the Peepers H's, they will just lose every time, and they're very expensive to reinforce. There will be a lot of bleed.
They just won't duel well. Probably Grenadiers would be a bit of a better choice, but we'll be going for at least the cap here onto the VP. Again, they're doing it in the front of a quad half track, and that's not the favourite place to be, but it was a bait for the Elephant. So,
can you make a bait about that?
Well,
Panzer bait Grenadiers? Or?
I'm not sure how to... Yeah, something like that. I mean, I don't know if I can pun quite that hard twice in a row. I'll work on it for you.
We haven't seen ROMC build something else from his tier 4. Going to be saving up for another ISU. You can't really go SU-85s. As soon as the Elephant hits the field, it makes SU-85s very hard to use. But at least with ISUs, they still are in a similar situation, but you can use the ISUs to sort of just kill infantry and zone away, where SU-85s, all they can do is just have AT damage. And a lot of Pumas here for Ruffe, so I really would like to see him actually start, using them aggressively against the T-34s, because against the conscripts, they're just not effective. It's the command tank that's actually doing the damage.
Yeah, definitely. His own 16 kills so far. It has been going quite well thus far, and just keeps firing away. These conscripts, again, they're going to be pretty careful. Pumas are just all together. They're just standing on each other. Looks like we're going to see an AT nade here.
Yeah, going in a little bit too deep, really trying to find the AT grenade, and even if he does, so what? There's no follow-up. He's just bleeding away his manpower. But I guess he isn't too concerned because he's floating 900 manpower. But we do have the T-34s positioning in. That is another strafe by the looks of it. Elephant not quite able to fire on the T-34s, but is repositioning to do so. Pumas are driving forward. T-34s are backing away. Strafe getting that command tank down a little bit lower. T-34 is caught and is actually stunned by the veterancy on the Puma, so the Elephant will finish it off once the one more shot lands. Missed its mark, so they may back away from this one. Pumas won't find the killing blow.
Yeah, the T-34 is going to be safe here. Stroke is grabbed up here. You don't want to give the Soviets the strokes. They just tend to win the game once they start getting infantry-based AT. Recruit some packs as well. The T-34s, again, it's hard to use them. I mean, at this point, all our Soviet players really have to do is camp out the VPs. 97 left, and we really have to see some aggressive stuff come out from TNrg and his ally in order to take back these VPs and actually hold the game.
The problem is for our Germans, they have almost no grenadiers and no mines, so they could probably just drive the T-34s head on against this army here, and no one's there to faust him, so they can just circle strafe the Elephant and then just kill the Pumas head on. I mean, obviously a flank would be much better, but generally you want to have the Grenadiers or even the Osttruppen that are available to sort of defending the tanks and the Pumas, so that they can't just drive into them because they will get fausted.
Yeah, definitely. The T-34s are positioning up to the top. The Pumas are relocating in order to deal with that ISU. It can be the bottom VP, so if we can see some more squad wipes, definitely, and that's what it's going for, it's definitely going to help in the VP battle.
Yep, Veterancy 2 on the T-34, so it will have better rate of fire and accuracy. Same with the Puma, but T-34s are just much better. And doing some nice snipes though as well. You really can see that if they get caught, oh no, the T-34 out of position may fall here to the Puma. DandyFrontline not paying attention to his T-34, and that one is vetted up. Don't want to lose that. Elephant on the top here, not quite firing away. I would love to see TNrg actually use the recon run. He does have 230 munitions, so he can use that, fire some shots, and force away the tanks for repairs.
Yeah, it definitely would be a nice idea. The Elephant hasn't taken as many shots as it should have so far. Puma's playing very, very aggressive, and it's nice.
No.
T-34 should not go into that.
Yeah, definitely getting stunned there at a very bad time. Puma's taking it low and probably will fall. There is a strafe, but the Vet 2 T-34, it fell. There were 3 T-34s against 3 Pumas, but they were caught out one at a time. If they just went in for the aggressive, they would have been fine. So throwing away the tank advantage. Elephant as well, doing some nice long-range damage. ISU is as well. The Elephant just has so much better consistent damage. These P-Gren grenades having some pretty good success, trying to push through the middle. So far, our Germans hold the VPs. Nice MG bunker will pin the entire blob and prevent the decap. Command tank has some pretty good kills and will continue to bleed the conscripts.
Yeah, definitely. The command tank is absolutely nice because the scatter's still hitting the conscripts. Elephant is repositioning now, taking a little bit of poke damage, and the T-34 is going for the circle strafe. It's going for the rear armor.
The pack is firing as well, not penetrating very consistently, but an excellent flank from the T-34. Can it get behind it? No, it can't. The cliff blocking it off, and there's a Stug as well. The Elephant got to be careful. It's quite low. The ISU not able to capitalize on that, but Osttruppen squad will get wiped by the Molotov. Meanwhile, the Elephant is safely backed away. I'm not sure if it can fire through the cliff. Still exposing its rear armor. May have got caught there but the Pigrins will force them away.
Shreks will knock them a little bit backwards. Man, take again moving forward, but the Pumas are still on the left-hand flank, I believe. They're just chilling all around the place, just waiting for an opportunity to actually move in and look for some snipes on the T-34s. ISU doing some nice squad wipes.
Ruffe almost killed the Vet 2 pack with its barrage ability. And up the top here, a single T-34. It's got to be careful against that many Pumas, especially with the veterancy on them. It really will just force them away. I would like to see maybe an Su-85 mixed in, but there's no fuel. There's also a bombing run onto perhaps the ISU. That could kill it if it actually lands on it. Where is it going? It's blocking off the retreat, so didn't do a lot of damage, but definitely got it lower and alongside the Stug. And the Shreks may claim this ISU, and that will be game over if the ISU is taken out. Elephant too far away, but the Stug takes it out. ISU is destroyed. No tanks left for our Soviets, only a wounded T-34.
Yeah, they've got like a couple of T-34s on the field, but it's not really going to be enough at this point. Pigrins with P-Shreks, they are Vet 3 and they are balling extremely hard against the guards. It's a huge tank advantage in the end. Pumas all over the map as well, easily being able to deal with these T-34-85 call-ins.
Yeah, definitely the T-34 control from DandyFrontline, it really leaves something to be desired. I think he could have gone way more aggressive and just started getting the kills. Yeah, there goes another T-34. Strafing run isn't that effective. I mean, it does damage, but you have to actually capitalize on it.
Yeah, if you can't follow it up with additional damage, and where he had kind of 3 T-34s against 3 Pumas, really should have gone into that a little bit more and tried to take them out with some consistent damage. They do a lot of damage. Pumas just fire faster. Again, Stug's just going to be capping out the VPs here. Elephant balling very, very hard as well. Aggressive Ostwind. Yeah,
got another T-34 kill and may get this one. Ostwind denying the repair. That is a Katusha mixed in, but the Ostwind will have none of that and may take it out very quickly. If it starts firing, the T-34 will prevent that from happening. Ostwind one shot away from taking it out. T-34 is missing. A Katusha has to make sure it backs away. There's a pack just to prevent the Ostwind from going in, but it may juke behind the garrisons. Rear armor hit, but it won't be enough. Guards may even take it out. Oh, Katusha falls. Yeah, couldn't deny that one, unfortunately. Pack positioned on the wrong angle, couldn't fire through the buildings.
And game's looking pretty over at this point, I have to say. I mean, the Pumas, they actually get okay-ish anti-infantry damage when they start to get vetted up. They can do a little bit of damage, but again, got to be careful of those AT nades. At this point, I think there's just too many tanks on the field. Ruffy's got several of those Pumas. The Elephant's got a lot of veterancy as well. It's very, very hard for our Soviet players to actually deal with anything.
Yeah, when he gets Vet 2, the increased rate of fire it gets is ridiculous. It's really hard to kill, and there's just so much output. And with no infantry AT for the Soviets, there isn't really many options to take out the Elephant minus flanking it with T-34s, which were all destroyed by the Pumas. So this is definitely going to be game over here, as we will just fast forward to wrap this one up. But what do you have to say about the strategies and techs of our players?
Look, I mean, it's been fun. That's fine. I definitely like the Pumas actually kind of synergize well with the Elephants. Definitely, given that we saw T-34 85s gone for. If we saw more like ISU, IS-2 play, Pumas definitely wouldn't have worked as well. But because the T-34 85s did come out, worked quite well. And synergized well. I think just the T-34 85 micro, it was a bit iffy. Could have been played a little bit more aggressively in some spots and got caught out a couple of times where they shouldn't have been. That's kind of the major thing there.
Yeah, I think if he just either went for the Pumas directly or just sort of went into the base, because the Elephant would have to sort of reposition itself entirely, and it wouldn't be able to fire through the cliffs, and the T-34s would be able to destroy the base very quickly. The Elephant it's hard to deal with, definitely, on 2v2s, because Soviets lack infantry-based AT against a dedicated heavy tank destroyer. So you're going to have to go for those flanks. But even then, the Elephant was close to being taken out at times, but just wasn't able to get the killing blow in the end. But that'll wrap this game up. Until next time, we are the Generals Gentlemen. Thanks for watching.